Hi everyone, this is Pastor Al. I want to show you something about the Passover meal. It's one portion of the meal. We've got the lamb, we've got the wine, but we also have the matzah bread. Matzah bread is unleavened bread. It is bread with no yeast in it. In the Bible, yeast is described at times as sin or the infection, the corruption of sin. So God specifically in Exodus 12 had instructions for the Israelites. Take bread made without yeast. I want there to be bread without yeast, which represents a body without sin. And then Jesus in the New Testament says, this matzah bread that he held up on Maundy Thursday, this is my body. So this bread without yeast speaks about Jesus' body without sin. Well, let's look into what it takes to make some matzah bread. Jewish tradition says that you have to make this from mixing to cooking in 18 minutes or less. We've got plenty of time, so it's not going to take that long for us to make it. Some basic ingredients, and first the tools. Just have something to stir with. I've got a rubber scraper. Once you've mixed it up, you'll need something to roll it out with. I've got just a simple dowel. You can take a rolling pin, that'd be perfect. And then a knife to cut the dough so you can roll smaller portions of it. A bowl to mix it in. So the ingredients, you need some flour, all-purpose flour or bread flour, either one works. I'm going to use bread flour today. So flour, about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and just for the recipe, I'm using about 2 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and just a pinch of salt. And I'm going to make a guess, about 3/4 of a cup water. Mix it up. Add a little bit more. You want the dough to be slightly sticky, but not so sticky that it sticks to the rolling pin or to your hands. Get in there too. I've already thoroughly washed my hands, which you'll want to do if you get your hands involved with this. All right, it's starting to feel pretty good. Add a little bit more water for the excess. And then once you've got it mixed up, then you're going to knead it, which is just folding it over, pushing it down. It's working it. It's crushing it, it's rolling it out. All of that's the kneading process. You get a little bit of bread flour underneath to keep it from sticking to the table, a little bit on top. And what you do to knead, you push it, you pull it over, push it down, turn it. Pull, push, turn, pull, push, turn, pull, push, turn, pull, push, turn. Just keep doing that. That's the kneading process. You're pushing the palm of your hand into this dough. So you knead it until it becomes soft and elastic, typically 5 minutes or so. I'm just going to do it a couple to get started. I've already worked up some dough ahead of time. So here's some pre-made dough, same basic recipe. I'm going to cut off a chunk that's about 2 tablespoons worth, maybe a little bit more. And we're going to, again, flour the surface. Get the rolling pin floured. I love that passage in Isaiah that says, he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. What are we doing now? We're crushing this yeastless bread. Jesus' body was crushed, rolled out, thinned out, because of our sins. And then traditional matzah bread, you also pierce it. Now you can take a fork or there are piercing instruments. In this case, I'm just going to use the tip of the knife to pierce it. And then we throw it, place it in a hot pan. When you buy traditional matzah bread in the store, it has a very geometrically pierced look to it, and you can definitely tell it's been roasted in a very hot oven, like a pizza oven, something very hot, so that it is clearly a roasted bread, but also a pierced bread. I think about this in terms of what Jesus suffered. Jesus suffered our piercings when he was put on the cross. And that bread represents Jesus. Bread without yeast represents a body without sin. That's Jesus, the only human who ever lived without sin. But the pierced, he was pierced for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. So there, getting a little bit more of the cooked look to it. The other thing I like about the matzah bread is the roast nature. That you see the dark patches? Well, Jesus was roasted under the fire of God's wrath for us. All of that is pictured in the Passover. Don't burn yourself. There we go.